What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Be in the practice of having compassion for people who have more in life than you do. When you think about it, in a lot of ways, it's easy to have some form of compassion for people who have less than you. You could see the suffering much more clearer than you can with somebody who may be wealthy, somebody who may be famous, affluent, just have all of these things that the majority of the world desires. But I think if we train ourselves to have compassion when it's difficult, then it also makes it easier to have compassion when it's easy. And it makes everything much more holistic and well rounded. And when you say this, people are saying, how can you need to have compassion for somebody like this? They have everything. And that alone could be a reason to have compassion for somebody. I believe it was the Dalai Lama. I'm not 100% certain, so I'm going to be guilty of potentially misquoting, but I believe it was the Dalai Lama who said that we not only have to have compassion for the people who suffer too much, but we also have to learn to have compassion for the people who suffer too little. And you've seen this before. You've seen that person who hasn't really had a challenge or struggle in their life. And because of this, they're aimless. It's almost like that stereotypical suburban person who does nothing but drink wine and pop pills all day, and they're questioning the meaning of their life and the purpose of their life because they've never been out there. They've never been challenged. They've never been through this type of struggle that really hones the perspective of who somebody is. And so, while yes, they may not have many of the same challenges that you do, if you just pull back the reason to think that they're not worthy of your compassion, you could see that there's still suffering there. And it just adds to this idea that nobody is an exception to this. Everybody is dealing with some form of hardship, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. But when you learn to just be in the practice of it, then you can learn to start seeing reasons to apply compassion to everybody. And you never want to have those blinders on because it will just limit your capacity. It will limit your capacity to say, I only have compassion for these type of people, but I won't have it for these type of people. And it's just a muscle that you need to be developing. Don't limit the growth by not allowing yourself to feel compassion for people just because they may have things that you wish you had, or they have things that many other people desire. Obviously, throughout the world, so many people have so little. So you think, why should I give it to them when I could apply it to these other people? But compassion isn't finite. You can apply it to everybody. And interestingly enough, the more that you do apply it to everybody, the more capacity you'll have to give the compassion. It's not something that you're going to wake up and realize that you've run out of it. So I always consider that to be something of a personal challenge of mine. And so I thought it would be something worth sharing here. Interesting enough, I almost think it's the opposite of what I think of when I think of gratitude. When I think of gratitude, I find that it's easy to have that for the larger or maybe more obvious things in life, for a lack of a better way of putting it. You ask anybody, what do you feel grateful for? First thing that usually would come to mind may be their health, their well being, having this day, this moment, this opportunity. Then you'll hear friends and family, maybe a good career. I like pushing that down the line to like get to what may be the smallest factors that we apply our gratitude to and building our way up. The floor we walk on, the air conditioner, the heater, the restroom, the paved roads, the grocery stores filled with anything that we could possibly want, the air conditioner in the grocery store. I mean, you could just look at everything in your path. And when you start to develop your understanding, you can see that, yeah, there's a reason to be grateful for everything that I have. And the last thing I would say about compassion, too, especially as it pertains to people who, at least in some ways, have more than us. I'm not saying more to equate to them having a better way of living, but at least by the metrics that we use so frequently when gauging somebody's level in life. Compassion isn't feeling sorry for somebody. It's not looking down on somebody in many ways. To say you feel compassion for somebody, it's not a form of pitying them. To me, when you say you have compassion for somebody, it's just a way to understand and acknowledge their hardships. And through that understanding, through that acknowledgement, see how we're all the same and we're all no different when it comes to these struggles and challenges in life. And then we can start addressing what can we do to reduce the suffering of the people around us. So that's it. That's all I got for this one. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next video.